Excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 51st ASEAN Day reception. May we request everyone to remain standing for the ASEAN anthem. May we call on Assistant Secretary Maria Helen B. De La Vega of the Office of ASEAN Affairs of the Department of Foreign Affairs to introduce our keynote speaker.
Excellencies, esteemed members of the Cabinet, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Alan Peter S. Cayetano, Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of the Philippines.
Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. Truly, after 51 years of ASEAN, as we celebrate the anniversary, one cannot describe the success, the brotherhood and sisterhood more than saying that we love our neighbors. So thank you very much, and a very, very warm welcome to all of you for joining tonight as we celebrate the anniversary of an association of nations in a time where people said there will surely be chaos, but these nations came together and proved us correct that we can be one by simply taking care of each other and loving each other. I'd like to give a very, very warm welcome to the Dean of our Diplomatic Corps, Archbishop Gabriel Kasha, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellencies, of course, our ambassadors from ASEAN, Secretary Lorenzana, Secretary Jokno, former Secretary of Foreign Affairs Delia Albert, and other DFA officials. Good evening, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Going back to loving your neighbors. Loving or love is a word we love to hear. It's always welcome. It tickles the heart and the brain because it's an emotion that tells us of something that can be perfect in an imperfect world. But loving is not easy. I don't think my wife expresses enough to all of you that I'm hard to love, you know. And, you know, you see people, leaders, ambassadors, you see agreements, peace summits, and, you know, you think about love and loving, but love is difficult. It is not easy. And if love is not easy, loving your neighbor as much as you love yourself is also most difficult, because human nature, I think, is that we love ourselves more than we love others. So I say this in the spirit of gratitude to ASEAN and all of our dialogue partners, all of our strategic partners, and special mention to the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, and the people of Singapore for doing such an excellent job in not only hosting, celebrating our next 50 years, but more importantly, creating the environment where people who love each other can tell people the truth. We cannot solve problems if we are always trying to be, to use the word, diplomatic, right? I mean, it's true. There are differences, there are heartaches, there are pains, there are real issues that make it a dangerous world. But look back. Wasn't it a dangerous world 51 years ago? Anyone who says that there is now uncertainty, there is now so much great danger, but also so much opportunity, could be as much describing 51 years ago and could as much be describing today. But today we have an example of 51 years of these countries with different religion, different political system. Many of these countries have regional or ethnicity, ethnic original inhabitants that have different language, a different culture. Yet these nations came together and somehow made it work. It's not perfect. You know, now and then we still get these comments, why did you say this, why did you say that, why did you congratulate them, why weren't you tougher on them? And to be very honest with you, the strength and weakness of ASEAN is the concept of consensus. Because they said, you know, ASEAN will never get anything done. Because how do you get 10 out of 10 to agree? Again, we've proved them wrong and got a lot of things done. But it is a strength and it is a weakness. And why is it a strength? Because somehow, by doing it by consensus and respecting each other's sovereign, by treating each other as a sovereign equal, by not interfering into the domestic affairs, but by caring enough and using the right mechanisms and venues, you know, to tell your neighbor if there's a problem, we will be able to show an example of consensus. Going back to a husband and wife example, husband and wife are only two people, but they don't always have a consensus. You know, many times, despite having just two people, it's difficult. The men are laughing because we're all thinking the same thing. In a marriage, the consensus is simple: follow your wife. If not, you won't have the peace, development, and stability that you need, you know. So let me just leave you also with a thought. You know, I'd also like to personally congratulate a great man and diplomat and a friend of all of us here in the Philippines, of course, Ambassador Sung Kim. You surprised us with the, yes, you surprised us with the summit in Singapore, and again, thanks for Singapore. We're offering Boracay for the second round of talks if President Trump and Supreme Chairman Kim would like to come, but we can't open it until Secretary Anyo and Secretary Sima to finish. But Ambassador, you know, there were critics. There's a lot of surprise this morning. We talked a lot about it. But, you know, if we want to give peace and change a chance, sometimes we just have to jolt people by taking the risk, putting ourselves out there, you know. And an issue in the back of everyone's mind is always the South China Sea, you know, and how it could be dangerous, how it could affect the stability and development and peace in the future, you know. But if somehow Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, who we ourselves have conflicting claims, can somehow live with each other and make it a small part of our relationship and keep talking and talking and talking and not feel that we are stepping on each other's boundaries, although we're fighting about each other maritime entitlement or boundaries. I hope that that example, can spread out as the example of North Korea and the US is also spreading out to other countries. Of course, if Japan and are okay, and if Russia and China did not also play a part, this peace in the Korean Peninsula could not be accomplished. So we need all of you. Yes, in words, sometimes we say, allow us to do it, just the ASEAN. Sometimes we say, we want everyone involved. Sometimes it's a COC just between us and China. These are all part of the process. But for it to work, we have to find a way to have a consensus. And let me close by just saying, let's also have a consensus that as we navigate this dangerous world, as we navigate a diverse world, here in the Philippines, let's have a consensus of enjoying each other's company and enjoying the reception. So please enjoy the night. Thank you very, very much for your presence here tonight.
Thank you, Secretary. May we invite Your Excellencies from ASEAN member states to join Secretary Cayetano on stage for the photo opportunity. This will be followed by the cake-cutting ceremony. Excellencies, please look at the camera and give us your best smile on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. May we request Your Excellencies to do the traditional ASEAN handshake with your right hand over your left. Thank you, Excellencies. Okay, let's now have the ASEAN wave. Thank you, Excellencies. May we request you to remain on stage. We will now proceed with the cake-cutting ceremony. May we request Secretary Cayetano and Her Excellency, Kok Lee Peng, representing Singapore as ASEAN Chair this year, to lead the slicing of the cake. Happy 51st birthday, ASEAN. We would like to request Your Excellencies to remain on stage for the formal launch of the commemorative book titled Partnering for Change, Engaging the World, the Philippines chairmanship of ASEAN's Golden Year. At this point, we also invite on stage Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy of the Presidential Communications Operations Office to join Secretary Cayetano to launch the book together with the ASEAN ambassadors as witnesses. May we also request Assistant Secretary Maria Helen de la Vega to present the book. The commemorative book details the successes of the Philippines as it chaired ASEAN on its milestone 50th anniversary last year. The commemorative book is a project of the Department of Foreign Affairs and the Presidential's Communications Operations Office. Ladies and gentlemen, the commemorative book on the Philippines ASEAN Chairmanship 2017. Thank you, Secretary Cayetano, Undersecretary Badoy, Assistant Secretary de la Vega, and Your Excellencies.